Let's take it to another big week 8 matchup in the NFC, and it is a homecoming for Caleb Williams, going back to his hometown of Washington, D.C. and the DMV area. But in order to go home, he has to go on the road. It's a perfect game for on the road presented by Honda. Dreams are unstoppable. Storylines tremendous in Bears at Commanders. Caleb Williams, like I said, going back to DC to face his hometown team and the number 2 overall pick in the draft, who to this point in the season has upstaged him a little bit. Or at least we hope that is the storyline come Sunday. That is the cruelty of football. The NFL saw this weeks ago. They had the wherewithal to flex it into a later window. Bigger audience, more people to watch the number 1 and number 2 pick, Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels, go at it, both leading their teams to surprising success. And of course, Jayden's availability is now in question after suffering that rib injury against Carolina. It's never quite as straightforward as you want it to be. Sounds like it's going to be a waiting game. We record these episodes on Wednesday evening. Daniels did not practice Wednesday, so for the time being, we're just waiting to see. I think based on what we know, this could be a decision. It'll certainly go up until Friday. It might even go until Sunday before the game. Marcus Mariota stepped in admirably for Jayden in that big win against Carolina last week, so I don't think there's any pressure to rush Jayden Daniels into this game if he's not ready. But for the time being, we just wait to see if that is a possibility. Man, it would be fun. Washington sits on top of the NFC East, and it's not the cute kind of first place like after week 1 or week 2 where you're just happy to have a win under your belt. We're at week 8. We have reached roughly the halfway point of the season. First place in the NFC East, a very real 5-2 record. A very real chance to stay that way as they begin to work through the division schedule based on what we've seen from Philadelphia and Dallas. Not quite as sexy for the Bears. They are 4-2 thanks to the strength of the NFC North. That is good enough for last place. That's not completely fair to be looking up at the Lions, Vikings, and Packers in the standings, but a huge opportunity to make some noise this weekend, and actually a huge throwback opportunity. It sounds weird to say in 2024. These are 2 proud NFC franchises. I loved this stat from Kevin Fishbane of The Athletic. This is the first time the Bears and Commanders, the Bears and the team based in Washington, D.C., have played each other when both teams were above 500. First time since 1991. Been a long, long time since both of these teams were having a fun season at the same time. It's also a huge milestone for the winner. I'm not trying to hate. I'm guessing you've seen this bouncing around social media or other NFL podcasts. Neither one of these teams has a win against a team with a winning record. I know it's not college football. It's not about style points. You play who's in front of you. But I do think it's good context to know the combined record of the Bears' 4 wins is just 7-20. The combined record of the Commanders' 5 wins is just 10-25. Commanders very competitive against the mighty Baltimore Ravens recently. Not to say that they're not a good team, but a win for either squad would just suggest a capability at a higher caliber of win. Hopefully it's all at full strength. If we assume he can play, what a matchup this is. And we know what these offenses can do. We know what Jayden Daniels can do, and Caleb Williams certainly rounding into form before the bye week. I'm curious about the defenses. Chicago, top 10 defense by DVOA. Washington all the way down at 23. But I think it's worth pointing out, Washington's offense is a top 3 group by DVOA. Bears offense all the way down at 25. So a much steeper test for the Bears defense than a lot of the opponents they've had. Whereas Chicago's offense maybe a little bit less of a challenge for Washington's group. I guess we'll see. Daniel's injury is going to take all the headlines. I think it's worth noting, too, though, that as we record this, Bears do everything safety Jaquan Brisker, as well as nickelback Kyler Gordon, aren't practicing yet either. Could change by the end of the week. It's something to monitor, but I like this matchup a little bit less for the Bears if those guys are not available. I do think the Bears have the horses in the secondary to limit Washington's passing attack. I think they can take receivers away, they can press receivers, disrupt the timing. Jayden Daniels, if he plays, is all about getting the ball out of his hand quickly. I think I think Chicago can disrupt that a little bit, maybe make it a little bit clunkier in the passing attack for Washington. Bears second best success rate against the pass in the NFL, just 4 passing touchdowns allowed in 6 games. So a steeper test for Jayden Daniels than he's seen in a lot of these matchups. I'd love to pick it if I was more confident, but you're not going to catch me in that trap. Not until I know if Jayden Daniels is going to play or not. All I can say is I hope he's feeling healthy. I hope he does, because if both of these young quarterbacks are available, what a matchup, what must-see TV at FedEx Field on Sunday. And it's not often we've said that in the last 25 years.